Injured here, 3v3 Kasyr Lutien, blue team. We have Dark Riku, who went random and got a Lord General. Alongside Commissar Yarrick is also a Lord General. These guys are ranged commanders, have a retinue to help them out, which can add to throughout the game. Good defense and support. Rounding out blue team, Legendary, also known as Legion, is playing an Apothecary support commander, fights melee, has the target heal and a passive health regeneration aura. Red team, Darks plays an Eldar Farseer support commander, fights melee, has lots of buffs and some debuffs. Angry Bird alongside is a Techmarine, good range damage, can also fight melee in the mod of course, can build structures and has some nice utility, can repair as well. And rounding out red team, Sneakus Peekus is a mech boy, teleporting commander, fights range, puts out some nice damage, can also support, put up structures and repair and disrupt as well. Not the toughest little orc. Big Kasyr Lutien then. Great map though. Central VP in this raised area. Natural for blue on the east side in the south, and natural for red on the west side in the north. It's Mech Boy versus one of the Lord Generals. This is Dark Riku. Yarrick and Angry Bird are center. Darks on the east side up against an Apothecary, up to 65 hit points in this mod and looking quite strong in elite in the overall meta, I think, which is no bad thing. He's powerful without being killy and dangerous, which is exactly how he should be, I think. Going after Guardians here, or Dire Avengers I should say, and a retreat from Darks. Didn't do too badly, lost a couple of Dire Avengers, and Howling Banshees get away without a loss. Darks really loves his Howling Banshee usage with Spirit Stones on his Farseer. We'll see if we see it. Angry Bird now backing off, doubled up against Legion and Yarrick. Deathcore of Krieg show for Yarrick. You see Dark Riku's Lord General has this bear pelt, which was added as a ranked unlock in the latest build. Legion now has some Devastators on the way. Sneakus Peekus double shooters into looters. See a lot more looters in elite than you do in retail, and tactical marines on the field for Angry Bird. And before I get people asking me, I do not know why or how he has these fully blacked out armies, but that's Angry Bird for you. Sentinel being repaired here. Both of the Imperial Guard players going for identical build orders so far, but we do see a turret here from Riku. This is a multi-lass turret, decent damaged infantry, not the widest firing arc or longest range ever, and it doesn't suppress, but it's cheap and cheerful, can help you hold an area. Where is his Lord General? He is capping the VP and has done so. Look at the west side, completely blue almost. Sneakus Peekus now wants to protect this power. We might see electric armor, and in fact we already do see electric armor. It does not give the grenade icon as it does in retail. It's a bit harder to tell if he has it at a glance. And look at the damage he's doing to these guardsmen. Commissar Lord can counter electric armor with Aura of Discipline, or at least try to. It works differently in the mod. Does not heal when he takes damage, but heals passively. But of course you don't see a Commissar Lord. But look what Yarrick is going for, an artillery spotter squad. These guys are the new unit for Imperial Guard in 2.0 final. Center now turning blue. Here comes Angry Bird, has the refractor field up, and it's a good thing because the Techmarine has barely any hit points. Assault Marines knocked back with a ground pound. Legendary has Assault Marines of his own. Not sure if he cancelled those Devastators or they were taken out. Classic Eldar versus Space Marine play. The Eldar player getting shurikens, forcing Assault Marines, which will then be countered by Howling Banshees if they are in the right place at the right time, and right now they are not. They are decapping. Double shurikens from Darks. His favourite Eldar build, I think. Uses them very nicely with Guide on his Farseer, and she already has Spirit Stones, keeping his shuriken cannons in play. Guardian weapon teams they are known as in the mod, but they have shuriken cannons to start off. Bit of an odd retreat, but he did get a heal off on his assault marines and they only lose one member. Sneakus Peekus now has his natural victory point back. No upgrades for the shooter boys, which is how he plays Orks in Elite. Does not upgrade his tier 1 units until they've leveled up later on. 484, 387. Apothecary with Mastercrafted Bolt. Here come Howling Banshees out of nowhere, catching these tactical marines. Darks not wasting their war shout because those marines were already in retreat. Might be able to decap this victory point here. 475, 387, and a really nice fight brewing on that east side between the Apothecary and the Farseer. Sneakus Peekus gaining this central wreck point. Here are the artillery spotter squad. These guys have lost a model. They start out with 3, have a grenade icon. They call in an off-map artillery shell, have really long range, can disrupt with it nicely, good at countering setup teams and some early range blobs. Really interesting addition for Imperial Guard. Cost 280, 30, and they have an upgrade in tier 2 and in tier 3, both of them costing 50 rec, 15 power. They upgrade the damage from 50 to 75 and then again to 110. They also get an incendiary shell with the tier 2 upgrade, good versus garrisons and blobs that don't want to move. We'll see how they're used in this game. Ogryn is now on the way for Dark Riku. Commissar Yarrick's artillery unit back at base, and here are Dark Rikus. You might see them use their call in here. There is electric armor devastating to those guardsmen, and they're in retreat. Artillery spotters just spotting right now. Lord General forcing melee, and there we see the flare, and there is the hit. Excellent disruption. The damage falls off from the center like a grenade, so the damage is not spectacular, but that's not what they're there for. Wonderful disruption from long range. Not sure what the cooldown is on the call-in, but it's an activated ability. Also, the incendiary shell and the normal shell share a cooldown, so you can't do one after the other as well. 437, 359. The central powers changing hands constantly, as is often the case on this map. Darks going tier 2. The last player to go, Sneakus Peekus, has a weird boy on the field, always a good choice versus Imperial Guard. Both of the Imperial Guard players, incidentally, preserving their sentinels into tier 2. Both of them with the ground pound upgrade, of course. Here comes Angry Bird, and he's gone for a melee Techmarine. Look at this. We have Bionics, Refractor Field, and the Axe of the Mechanicus. Techmarine can get in there and mix it up with a power weapon which drains energy. And look at that Bionic sending that blob flying. Also can be very tough with Artificer and the Refractor Field, or you could give him that great disruption you saw there with Bionics. 414, 359. Darks on east side has preserved his Guardian weapon teams, which are so great in the mod because they can be upgraded in tier 2 with a Bright Lance. Double Shurikens could struggle against an early vehicle in tier 2, a Blood Crusher or such, but he can give them the Bright Lance for just 75 requisition now. And we see a Razorback from Legion, so we might see one of those Bright Lances. Howling Banshees here do not have the Rex Arc, now they are getting it. Lose a model though to the Razorback's Twin Link Heavy Bolter, ouch. Shotguns on the scouts, get a heal, getting too close to that Shuriken. Legion needs to be pushing a bit more with this Razorback, I think, and now he has support. This is Yarrick. We see melter guns on his Lord General. The retinue members also get them, the Stormtrooper retinue members anyway. And with, what is it called? Fight harder, there we go. Increasing the rate of fire of these weapons of these guardsmen. And he's gone for plasma guns on both guardsman squads. That's quite a heavy investment. With Commissars as well, that's going to be really painful for Angry Bird. 414, 318, a good push on the east side, doubling against Darks, and they will take that power down. Angry Bird taking the opportunity to cap mid. Who's gone down? This is Dark Riku's Lord General down. Actually quite difficult to take those guys out because of their retinue members which die first. And Sneakus Peekus with some stick bombers, chucking some sticks, and there is an artillery shell coming in from the spotter squad. Where are they hiding? There they are. They only cost 280-30, but they do bleed you a lot if you lose models. I think it's 46-7 or something to reinforce, and that can be painful for Imperial Guard economy if you can take them out. That's a big if though. 382-315. Lots and lots of guardsmen here shooting tactical marines at point blank range. These are stern guard in fact from Angry Bird. They're going to be dangerous with their hellfire bolts. Legendary also has some stern guard. 362-315. Here are legendaries. First company tactical marines can change ammo types on the fly to combat any enemy. Huge economic investment for those guys though. They really hurt your upkeep and really feed your opponent XP as well if they can take them down. Look at those hellfire bolts though on the shuriken. Can they finish it off? They do. The damage over time, acid rounds. Ouch. That was painful for Darks, but look at this, some Dark Reapers on the field, long range plasma damage, painful for those Stern Guard. Got too close though and are forced off these 2 models as well. Howling Banshees with 4 models and their aspects. No Exarch for those ladies yet. Must have lost the one they purchased. There's a Spirit Stone's heal. Razorback now backing off. Still no Bright Lance from Darks or Singing Spear. Stone Guard suppressed by the washout and lose a model quick and lose another one. Exarch now up on the Banshees who retreat. Lord General still down here for Dark Riku, and Sneakus Peekus pushing back slowly. That's Warp Vomit from the Weird Boy, Sub Commander tier 2 for Orks. Decent damage, can also disrupt. Ogryns for Dark Riku, looking very menacing. Line breaker melee unit for Imperial Guard, really dangerous if they can get in amongst stuff. Will be good for putting pressure on the stick bombers, and a full retreat from Sneakus Peekus. Doesn't want to get doubled and lose things, so just retreats out of there. 311, 315. Looks like there might have been a creeping barrage in this area. Dark Riku's Lord General has been revived, and he has the Sergeant retinue member. You see him on the left there, can hand out medical packs. Commissar Yarrick still with the default Stormtroopers melter guns at the moment. Angry Bird retaking his power, which has full gens up. Darks protecting his for now, has a node 311, 307. It's a 1-to-1 cap, and Angry Bird puts another couple of gens there. Tier 3 for all of the blue team. Red team are tier 3 apart from Darks, who has Wraith Guard on the way. Really nice grenade from those scouts who have their advanced training or whatever it's called that allows them to infiltrate. Look at this on the west side. Ogryns in amongst the Orks. That is deadly. Sentinel has the missile launcher. There's again electric armor going off from the mech boy. Has used it really well. 311, 307. Quite difficult for Imperial Guard to counter electric armor without a Commissar Lord. Ogryns catching stick bombers in retreat. Can they get a model? These guys with heavy melee damage smacking stuff with their Ripper guns, and they might be able to cap this VP as well for a 2-to-1 for blue. Baneblade on the way for Yarrick. That was a grenade attempt. Howling Banshees leveling to 2 finally. Stern Guard veterans will feed them very nice XP if they can get in amongst them. Razorback still around. Nice usage of this from Legion. Plasma cannon on the field for Angry Bird, covering mid. Artillery unit that steps up and gets a big shot on those guardsmen, killing 5 models. And then misfires. Here comes the Techmarine. Shield is up. Should put that down so he can regenerate energy for it. 311, 296. Very close going into tier 3 here. Knobs on the field for Sneakus Peekus. capping the wreck point, or decapping it rather, backed up by Weird Boy. We might see Super Tough Beam to support them from the mech, also can support with battery pack of course, but he's had such success with electric armor he might decide to keep it into tier 3. 311, 291. Was that the Razorback that went down? It was. Howling Banshees I think responsible. Now cornered by some Imperial Guard Sentinels still around for both Imperial Guard players. How often do you see them surviving into tier 3? And Yarrick's just leveled to 3. Dark Riku's getting into level 2 as well, and Dark Riku has a Baneblade on the way as well. We're going to see 2 Baneblades, one of them already on the field from Yarrick. Angry Bird has some Vanguard veterans, might see the Power Fist purchase for those guys to jump those Baneblades and get some rear armor hits. Wraith Guard backing off for Darks. There's a Spirit Stone's heal. Wraith Guard are short range artillery, do devastating damage to all targets and also suppress infantry that they hit. Assault Marines jumping in from Legion and are given the Vanguard veterans upgrade as they jumped in. Perhaps he didn't know that there was a slight delay now. Don't think Legion had played the mod for a little while. Jumping in, all of them have power weapons, Thunder Hammer, Power Sword, 2 Power Swords in fact, and some Lightning Claws on these guys. These guys are awesome in combat. Merciless Strike as well, so they can disrupt with their jump and Merciless Strike. Lose some utility since they can't have a Melter Bomb as veterans. Angry Bird also has some Stern Guard and Vanguard. Coming over to the east side, as you know, here is the Baneblade. This one is Yarrick's, and these guys got quite a major change in the latest build. The main gun of the Baneblade now fires automatically but for less damage, so you don't have to micro that shot each time, and also fires a bit more often. Handles a lot better I think. Knobs catching Ogryns in retreat. Ouch! Artillery spotters doing incredibly well. Did they wipe those stick bombs? Or was that Sluggers? It was Sluggers I think, and I think they did wipe as well. Yarrick losing his artillery spotters, but Dark Riku doing an excellent job with his then. Doesn't look like they have their tier 3 upgrade. I don't think the tier 2 upgrade shows up in the unit card. Baneblade is center. This is Yarrick's. Dark Riku's is slowly coming to the center and is going to run into Knobs. Bad, bad, bad for Dark Riku. Baneblade's only weakness really is strong melee units. And you don't get much stronger than Knobs. Headbutting the Baneblade. And down goes that Sentinel, excellently taken out by Stick Bombers. We also have a Commando squad for Sneakus Peekus. Their Knob Leader gets a nice rocket launcher, giving them some AV. 184, 291. Baneblade of Yarrick scared off the mid, but now it's coming back. Terminators on the field for Angry Bird will be able to teleport in and melee that Baneblade with their Power Fists. Also have Storm Bolters. Difficult to take out, to pick out the DLs rather, with Angry Bird's very strange blacked out colour scheme. 172, 291, Darks forced off the east side by Legion. This has been a great fight and wipes those Dark Reapers. Ouch. What level is the Apothecary? Level 4, has combat stims and improved medical equipment. Lord General for Yarrick with melter guns, and now the flak jacket has that great incoming ability. Look at this, love the Dakar from the Commandos. Excellent disruption on that ability, and this is a rocket run. Ouch. Tier 3 nuke for Imperial Guard. Nicely placed and almost wiped both of those squads, but Sneakus Peekus does get away with all of his squads intact. Lots of losses though, and his power and his VP again being put under pressure on the west side. It was in a great fight between the Mech Boy and those Imperial Guard commanders. Angry Birds Terminators lost a bunch of health, but do not lose a model. I hear Banshees screaming all the way from the other side of the map. Ouch! Wraith Guard getting a big volley on those scouts. Level 2 scouts backing off. Dark's Farseer coming up to level 3, just has Spirit Stones. And we don't have a Bright Lance either on this Shuriken. Now has a Predator to deal with. Wraith Guard do excellent damage to vehicles if you can get them to hit. They aren't the best at hitting moving targets, also quite slow as you can see here. Look at the map control for blue team. They have mid, Baneblade and a bunker there. This is Dark Riku's bunker, no doubt will be a repair bunker, will repair surrounding vehicles passively. And bunkers are a lot cheaper now in Elite. Max Power chiming in Ops chats. Here we see some Seer Council for Darks. He really loves using these guys as well. I'm not sure if he used his global to call them in or he purchased them from HQ. Wonderful power melee unit that leap into combat. 158-207. It's a 2-to-1 for blue. Can they hold on here? Sneakus Peekus with these commandos coming mid. Do we see super tough beam? We do not, so these knobs will not have support directly anyway. Still has Call the Boys and such. Lehman Russ on the field for Dark Riku needs to be very careful. There is Frenzy from the knobs, rendering them invulnerable, and break-in suppression now costs a lot more war in the mod, so they can't spam it like they could in retail. 158, 188, and this is a huge engagement. Baneblade retreating to the central plinth. Ogrins in there get warp vomited. Mechboy being very brave, trying to get in for electric armor and goes down. And that was a huge amount of losses there. Was that the stick bombers? I think it was. I actually missed what did that. And Dark Riku has lost his spot as well. That's a shame. Would like to have seen them with their tier 3 upgrade and see how they did. Angry Bird revives the Mechboy, which levels him to 5. This Techmarine in amongst the Lord General. Yarrick's Lord General has 4 retinue members, quickly losing them. I think he had all 6 at one point. 158, 162, it's a 1-to-1 cap. But look at this though, Dark's pushing the east side again. Up against this Predator, that is very, very risky. And Legendary getting another one. Noting the lack of hard anti-vehicle from Darks. He does have the Wraith Guard and the Banshees, but no Singing Spear and no Bright Lance. Double Predators might be too much for him to handle, especially with Vanguard veterans jumping in. Apothecary now coming back out of base. We have fully upgraded scouts with Sergeant, infiltration training and shotguns. 142, 162. It's a 2-to-1 for red because of this natural cap from Darks. Look at the middle, double Baneblades and the Lehman Russ supported by a repair bunker. Angry Bird trying to get some plasma cannon hits. That's Demolish Cannon on the front of the Baneblade, ouch, which is still an activated ability. 128, 162. Legendary, is he coming mid? 122, 162. 2-to-1 steal for red. Really back and forth game. Angry Bird still has the Terminators, no war gear for these guys. Might see the Cyclone missile launcher to try and deal with this mechanized guard. And Legion is now pushing, now has some support as well. This is Yarrick support, and he's done quite well to support both sides, I think. Dark's getting 2-to-1, but he's staying in the engagement. Farseer in huge amounts of trouble in there. Seer Council jumping in, but quickly retreat. Should not have engaged their Darks. Wants to protect his power, which is not even capped right now. Now it is. And blue team will have a 2-to-1. They will cap their natural back. Darks getting another Guardian weapon team. No doubt to try and combat these Predators. He's not a fan of getting Fire Dragons against Marines because Fire Dragons need to get close. And with Vanguard veterans and Stern Guard around, that could be painful. Here we see Sneakus Peekus making a push against the Baneblade and a Lehman Russ. Nob's now in melee with the Baneblade. Should have gone after the Lehman Russ, I think. Stick bombers thrown in some stick bombs. They also can also throw stun bombs, of course, which briefly stun vehicles. 103, 146. But Sneakus Peekus forced off, meeting the other Baneblade, and knew he was going to lose models to Demolisher Cannons and such. Retains his natural victory point. Well, here we see some very sneaky spotters from Dark Riku. Oh, he did retain his spotters. Did not even spot them in the unit roster there. Look at the east side kicking off like crazy. There's Angels of Death. And there's Time Field from the Farseer. Angry Bird, not Dark Riku, on this east side helping out. And Yarrick. Predator goes down. That is a Bright Lance. Bright Lance now has a new ability called Scorch, which can hit infantry. Doesn't do much damage, but increases the damage that they take. Orks being dropped in. Orks got a big tweak, as you can see. Her grenades now stun. They don't do quite as much damage as they did, but they now stun, which is a much better implementation, I think. These are Yarrick's Ogryns in amongst it. Retreat though, and an excellent engagement for red team. They're going to force off blue. Can they take this Predator out? Orks going after it with her power sword, getting rear armor hits, and they do take it out. Wraithguard getting the last hit. Excellent engagement, and Legion losing 2 Predators. That was painful. Manticore on the way for Yarrick. It's a risky map to get the Manticore on though. Manticores actually work better on smaller maps because you can keep them closer to your base and still get shots off. On this map you're going to need to bring it at least to this kind of point for it to be effective. Leman Russ has the elite tank crew upgrade for Dark Riku, but might not last any longer. We have huge hammers, knobs coming in. Is this a rocket run? No, it's a creeping barrage. You see the time between each shell has been slightly increased recently, making it a bit less effective at disrupting stuff. 103.77, a single cap for blue. Legion now with just his first company marine, Stern Guard and Vanguard, which are all in retreat, and a level 5 Apothecary. Yarrick's Lord General level 6 and has almost a full retinue. Now does have a full retinue, has the Vox Operator, the Commissar and the Sergeant. Makes him very versatile, but he can't use all of the abilities at once. It's too energy intensive. I just heard the Manticore strike go off, no idea where it landed. Vanguard veterans with the Power Fist for Angry Bird, taking out that heavy turret mid. Both Bane Blades are still around, but red team are doing well despite them, aren't they? Venerable Dreadnought dropped in by Angry Bird. And Terminator is forcing melee with Power Fist. This is going to be really painful for the Bane Blade. Venerable Dreadnought, really tough melee walker, unique to the Techmarine, one of his global abilities. And he is smacking that Bane Blade to death with those Power Fists as well. Ogryns coming in, trying to defend their Bane Blade. Level 3 Ogryns. Wow, these guys are dangerous. Dark's now coming in with some Seer Council. That was a Lord General there down. That's Yarrick's, I believe. Yes. Seer Council leveling to 2. And now in retreat. Some good disruption they got off though. Venerable Dreadnought levels. It just dropped in about 30 seconds ago. Already level 2. And now getting rear armor hits on the Bane Blade. Or is it? No, it's going after the Manticore. Spotted the Manticore of Yarrick, and he's going to take this thing down with Cult of Speed, I think this ability is called. You see that lightning symbol, that's a global of the Mech Boy. Really nice thinking from Sneakus Peekus, and it takes down the Manticore because of that synergy between the Mech Boy and his Venerable Dreadnought. Kicking off mid as well, 94-25 warp throw. Sorry, over there chucking in those Orks, and there's a Eldritch Storm as well, disabling both of these vehicles. Knobs coming in for some melee hits, and this Bane Blade is a goner. Down it goes, and this Leman Russ is in big trouble as well. Here comes the Venerable Dreadnought going after the Bane Blade. Excellent push all across the map from red. 94-12. Can blue team hold on here? Leman Russ in big trouble, is getting repaired, but I don't think it's going to survive the knobs. No, it goes down. Still level 1 these guys. Legendary now getting a Librarian. 94-6, a 1-to-1 cap. Red team needs to hold mid and need to retake their natural, of course. Looks like Darks is focusing center rather than pursue blue's natural. Vanguard veterans jumping in from Angry Bird, very nearly level 2, going up against Ogrins and this Lehman Russ. Ouch. Loads of stuff just died. Ouch. Vanguard veterans wiping for Angry Bird. And you see Immolate going, these heavy flamer terminators from Legion. That was really, really nasty. See a council now coming in. Need to be careful going into melee these terminators who are still Immolate in that area. Ouch. Venerable Dreadnought goes down. Heal goes off on these guardsmen. Dark Riku still having the presence of mind to distribute medipacks and heal in this crazy engagement. 80 and 6. It's a 1-to-1 cap still. Who's going to take mid? Lord General trying to cap it. Right Lance is going to get caught by Ogrins, or nope, they've gone after the Wraith Guard. And here's an orbital bombardment from Angry Bird, surely, yes, I think it was, and takes out the Lord General. That nuke is much more powerful in Elite, bigger range, and has explosive damage, but blue team take it 80-0 with a 2-to-1 cap. One awesome game. Great engagements on the east side between the Farseer and Apothecary. Sneakus Peekus up against the Imperial Guard was fun to watch as well. Hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I'll see you next time. Tell me what you think of the spotter team. Almost got to level 3 from Dark Riku, and tell me what you think of the Baneblade changes as well.